did was we released a series of projects, storyline through cute, digestible content, and we just told these communities to come on a journey with us. And we were just, it was part of our lore throughout the marketing. We did 45 days of marketing, and we sold out both projects with 5,000 people in Discord. But the gladiator tactic was kind of just like, you ever seen the movie Gladiator, right? When the guy says to him, if you win the crowd, you win your freedom. So what we did was we used marketing tactics to win the crowd in order to win the long-term race. So it's harder to explain.
And suck as much liquidity out of them in the most respectful way possible, so we can have that relationship not only with the community, but the projects as well. Because we knew the utility we were building, now we have the projects coming to us. It's like, we want to integrate into your dashboard to play the games, have the currency, have the marketplace as well, because our community is slowly starting to die.
So, gladiator tactic in a nutshell, cute, digestible content. That's it.
Okay.
Give them a round of applause. Give them a Crypto Monday.
We'll definitely be back. Well, we're from Miami, so we'll stop by.
All right, so we're all set now.
Yes.
We're moving on to the main event.
Yes.
I got a question before we do that. How many people are here for the first time to Crypto Monday?
Please raise your
Raise your
hands.
hands.
Please give them a round of applause.
All right.
You guys have found the secret sauce. Y'all gonna hear me keep saying that because this is a community of creators and everybody within have the same mindset in the Web3 space. So we welcome you. We're glad you're here. We want you to come back, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. Usually we give out POAPs. Today we did not give out POAPs.
What we give out tickets to DeFiCon.
Oh,
So go to Discord and get
yeah, make sure you go into Discord.
Even better.
Like,
yeah.
I gotta go into Discord because I don't even have a ticket.
Have to get in the Discord. All right, so this is awesome, guys. This is all about making connections, learning something. If it's your first time, there's a very, very diverse set of people here in terms of knowledge in the space and what you're working on. So at the end, if we have time, we'll actually give everybody 30 seconds to say what you're working on to facilitate some more connections.
Yep.
It's all about networking, leveling up, learning something. So that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Now, anything else?
Introducing.
Yeah, introducing. Let's have Josh Hudson, ladies and
Josh
gentlemen.
Hudson. Crypto.
How we doing, everybody? That was it. How's everybody doing today? That's what I like to hear. It's hot. It's hot as hell outside. So thank y'all for making it in this heat. We're now in some nice AC, and we got some food and wine brought to you by Uphold, of course. So shout out to our great sponsors who made all the food and drink possible. So yeah, and thank y'all for coming out. I think we have a really interesting discussion ahead of us today. So let's get onto the stage and let's talk. Grab a nice comfortable seat. You might be hanging off the stage. Yeah, I'm gonna be hanging off the stage too. I'm not sure. I don't know where we got these chairs this time. Yeah, probably. They just want us to look kind of weird off the stage. So, all right. So before we get started, I'm gonna ask if people can please give their undivided attention for people in the audience who want to learn. If you would have a discussion, you could take it to the side or somewhere else, or to the third or fourth floor.
Hey, quiet. Please.
Thank you, Nadia. Thank you. So yeah, let's get started. So here today we have Dr. Martin Hiesboeck. Did I pronounce that right?
Think of Her Magazine.
Her magazine.
Hiesboeck.
Hiesboeck. Okay, Dr. Martin Hiesboeck. And yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and yeah, kind of what we'll get into today.
Thank you very much.
Oh, before we even get started, give them a round of applause for coming in.
I work for Uphold. Don't try to download the wallet if you're in New York. We don't have a license for New York. Just heads up. Don't try this at home. We sponsor the event because we have our headquarters in London, in the United Kingdom, but we have an institutional offering. So I'm in New York to speak to hedge funds, big investment funds, private trusts, who are dipping their toes in the crypto space.
So you must see a lot there. You must, they must have some intel on kind of what they're doing in the crypto space and their strategy.
I'm the intel.
You're the intel. Okay.
They're paying me for the intel.
They pay you for the intel.
They do not necessarily have the intel. I was actually expecting, this is my first trip after COVID, and this is the first, and it's an odd situation. We have what some people call crypto winter, what we call blockchain spring. For many of these investors, it's really happening now. These are people who've been brokers and dealers on Wall Street for 30 years. They know what a good deal looks like. So they don't really care if Bitcoin is now at 20 or at 15 or something. It's on sale. Right? So experienced traders with long-time experience in different asset classes now look at the crypto space as something to take seriously. And this is why we are pushing for more. We're talking about adoption, mainstream adoption for years. We're not there yet. Right? You do not have mainstream adoption until everybody has a phone that they can tap, and and the balance goes from your Bitcoin wallet. Right? That will be the point where the crypto disappears and it becomes pure utility. And for the institutions, mass adoption isn't there because we don't know what crypto is. We have no definition of crypto. This is the regulatory problem.
So you said institutions are interested now, all of a sudden. So what has changed? Like, why is that the case?
Well, first of all, we have seen for the past year, 2 years, how much crap there is in crypto, right?
Absolutely.
We've gone through different bull markets and different hype phases, and because crypto was not taken seriously by governments and regulators, nobody's paid attention to it. We have a completely wrong vocabulary, for example. We call them cryptocurrencies, except for Bitcoin, none of them is a currency, right? We call it a DAO. It's neither decentralized nor autonomous nor an organization. So our entire crypto dictionary is garbage. And in June, 2 momentous things happened. The first one was the Queen's speech. The Queen's speech is every year in the United Kingdom the message from Her Majesty that her government will work on the following things. And in the announcement was a bill that, in very simple terms, it just said, we're okay with blockchain, we're okay with crypto, and we recognize a financial obligation on a blockchain as a real thing in law. And then they went on to NFTs, and just last week the England and Wales Law Commission decided an NFT is property, right? So if an NFT is stolen, it is a theft. It is therefore anchored in the existing jurisdiction. And this has not happened so far. At the same time, about 5 days later in June, the European Union, which is, believe it or not, the biggest market in the world with 450 million people in the European Union, even though you think of America as the biggest economy, you're not. You're number 2. Sorry.
We can get into that later.
Yeah, center of the world. I'm so happy in New York. It's a wonderful place. I gained 20 pounds just by landing. The portions are enormous, the burgers are good. I never want to leave. I would just be inflationary forever. So then 5 days later, the European Union came out and said, yes, we're okay with blockchain, we're okay with crypto, but show us
what you hold, show us what it is. If you are a stablecoin issuer and your stablecoin is based on the euro or the US dollars, then I want to see $1 or €1 in your account, in your cash balance account for every stablecoin you issue. If you are an algorithm, they did not
So it
ban
needs,
algorithm.
it needs to be pegged to an official.
No. The intent of the law is not that it needs to be pegged. But if you have an algorithmic coin that is, for example, like the Mahadar coins, which are 70% British pound, 20% Bitcoin, 20% Bitcoin, and 10% something else, I forgot. It's a composition, it's an algorithmic composition, gold. It's Bitcoin, gold, and fiat. That is supposed to be inflation proof. Now, what the European Union and the United Kingdom says, we're okay with you playing around with the idea of a stablecoin and throwing in some gold and some whatever, but then you have to show me that you hold the gold. That you have to show me that you actually have the Bitcoin. And all this came after the Luna shit show, right? And for us, for research, we were skeptical in academic circles about the Luna project from day one. You know, there was never a surprise. We never got a fucking Luna tattoo, you know? like some people. We look at projects at a very early stage. We look at the people behind it. This is also how listing on Uphold works. If you want to get listed on the Uphold exchange, we're not an exchange, but the Uphold digital asset hub, as we will drop the term wallet, because wallet is an idiotic term. If you want to be a digital asset on the Uphold platform, then you have to go through due diligence, double checks and triple checks and background checks. And you know, every time I want to list a token, I have to talk to 7 different lawyers in 10 different countries. The reason for this is because we want to be fully compliant, because that's what's lacking in crypto. We're now moving into an era where the entire crypto space is being taken seriously, but in order for it to exist and flourish, we have to play by the rules. That's the key message, and this has happened so clearly that it shook Gary Gensler out of his trance state he seems to be in, and the United States is now working with the European Union, trying to establish global definitions of digital assets.
So let's unpack that further. You mentioned regulations, but I think there's some people that would hear that word and then run in the other direction. Like regulations is not something that we'd want in Web3 or crypto. So devil's advocate, why do
you want regulation?
Yeah.
You think you don't, but you want it.
Yeah.
For the following reason, you're a DAO. There's no such thing as a DAO anymore. The only country in the world who recognizes DAO is Wyoming. Which is ever so much the center of the world, right? Delaware. There you go, Delaware. Oh. Now, we do not have a global definition of the legal term DAO. But if your DAO owns something and that something is stolen, then you will be the owner of the DAO will be the first one to say, hey, they stole my stuff. I want to go to court. I want to take you to court. How am I going to take you to court? You're a DAO. What's a DAO? You're not a legal person. You want regulation as soon as you have assets to protect, right? You want to be on the fringes and wild and until you have children, right? Then you suddenly become the responsible adult. And the same is happening in crypto. Crypto is now growing up. It's having children. And the regulators and the governments are saying, we love this. Blockchain is an integral part of future technologies. We cannot process real data of the size that is coming at us, like in smart cities, smart buildings, transportation system. There's so much data that needs to be properly managed at the point of entry into a registration system, like a blockchain, that we're moving on to technologies like the hypergraph. We have a need for efficient data processing, and that need is best filled in many instances, not in all, but in many instances with blockchain technology. So the government said, we like that, but what does your token do? If I have, for example, a blockchain that manages the production of cars and where all the spare parts come in and how the car is assembled and how the car leaves the factory. All that is data on the blockchain. Then if that blockchain is called XYZ, and I have a token, $ XYZ, what is that token worth? How do you assess the value of a project? Why is your portfolio down 80%? And is a token that was $18 and is now $0.04? How is that possible? In traditional assets, we have projections. We have cash flows. We have earnings calls, like what the analysts, my friends from Uphold Securities here do this every day. They go on analyst calls and listen to what is happening to NVIDIA in the next quarter and how should that reflect on the stock price. So in order to ascertain the value of a company, we do analysis. We don't do that for crypto. We don't know shit about half the crypto companies out there. There is no balance sheet of Avalanche. There is no public filing of the earnings of Algorand. So how do you assess what an Algorand token or Avalanche token is really worth? And the big move that is happening now is integrating cash flow projections and company value into the token in algorithmic representation of future cash flows of blockchain. You've heard this before on your crypto Twitter that we are tokenizing every asset. We're exactly doing that. Everything you own can be an NFT. Anything you spend and earn can be a tokenized asset. You can tokenize yourself. There's a platform that has tokens and personalities, right? You can go anywhere, but it's still there. And now the regulators and governments are saying, we like this, so do it, but do it, play by the rules.
So how do you, when you see a token like this, and you're evaluating that, looking for tangible things that you would in the traditional world, what's something you would like to see in a token to know that it's something that you'd be interested in investing in? By the way, not financial advice.
What I'm looking for, what Uphold, all of our listeners, what we're looking for primarily is utility in the real economy. This utility may come from a game, right? That there is utility to a game. If people enjoy playing the game and the game is legit, then that's a utility. But we are much more focused on traditional economic activity. For example, if you look at Shinfin, XDC, it's a blockchain most people have never heard of. It is the ideal solution to trade finance, right? And global trade is the biggest business in the world. What you can have there, for example, is you could have people staking their token in order to buy a container of oranges from Tel Aviv and send it to Miami. You have the tokenization of the buyer side of the trade, all the way down to the bill of lading when the container is put onto the ship with the trade documents, all that in the same blockchain. You have no idea how much manual labor still goes into global trade. How many shipping documents, how many customs declaration, the UPS guy, everybody has a piece of paper. Now it's getting a little bit more digitized, but you have still multiple steps. If you could put all of them together in one blockchain transaction, that will make the world so much more efficient.
Guys in the back right in the corner, if you have side conversations, please take it out of the room. Thank you. Continue.
So, and then we look at this, the same in banking. How does a banking, if I put my transactions in a bank on a blockchain, they're safe, they're properly secured. So I need that. But if I'm Standard Chartered and I'm choosing to run this on Avalanche, and the Bank of England decides to run on Algorand, and the next bank chooses Ethereum, how do they talk to each other? We have a massive interoperability problem in crypto, because what we have built is layer 1s and layer 2s with bridges, and bridges are shit. From a technical standpoint, building a bridge between two chains is suicide, because you can never secure a bridge. That's why if you look through the $2.5 billion stolen in exploits since February this year, 95% happened through bridges. So don't bridge your chain, period. Now what you need a layer on top of the chains that works with APIs where if there is a hack, there's only one point that can be hacked and not the entire bridge and both sides of it. So you can actually not drain assets. This API controlled system is called, in the case of a company called Quant, the overledger, which is the only solution we have at this point for interoperability that is worthwhile talking about. And so at Uphold, we look at the use cases. We have tons of tokens on the platform that are really very geeky developer projects that nobody knows about, but we're not after the trading fees primarily. We want to offer assets that make sense, for example, in artificial intelligence, in healthcare, and for real estate organization. I mean, I have the fact that the law commission now says NFTs are property, and that at one point you guys have to keep up with global regulations and stop fighting about the 1933 Securities Act, whether a thing is a security or not. And if an NFT is an actual property, then it means that the entire world, anything we own, any physical good, as an NFT, is a property in law, right? And then you have mass adoption of this technology, not because somebody drew some funny stoned apes on a JPEG, right? That's not utility. That we call it NFR. It's not NFR, it's NFR.
You see a lot of that lately in the space, but you talked about bridge hacks, which is interesting, and that's been going on for the past 3 months. There's just been a lot of hacks, protocols just losing user funds, and I think there's new people here in crypto, especially here at CryptoMondays. So how should people navigate this industry, this market, based on what's going on the past 3 months? How should they stay safe? How should they be able to make smart, sound investment decisions and not get caught up in these hacks? And what do you see as for the future of securing this settlement layer we call the blockchain, so people can really transact and do what they'd like to do?
I think you have to read the fine print everywhere. Don't follow the hype. There is so many nonsense projects out there. You wouldn't buy a random thing you can't expect from a random person you have no relationship with, right? You buy your house from the guy at the bank that whose children go to school with your children. You don't go to a computer protocol and take a loan for a house. We have this dream about decentralization, and we hold that as like the holy grail of our future self-sovereignty. Unfortunately, decentralization came with a lot of lack of accountability. Yeah.
Ironically.
Complete lack of accountability. And
say that. Come on, brother.
And fraud cases.
Come on, brother.
More fraud cases than you can throw a stick at, right? So decentralization can only happen if it comes in a responsible way, and where I ultimately have someone to prosecute. We want to be decentralized, but we cannot be unaccountable. And this is the change in thinking that's happening with regulators. There will probably be crypto that is completely unregulated and completely free of government oversight or regulatory oversight, but it will be pushed to the fringes. Because if we want to make blockchain work for us, to make our economy more efficient, our world juster, because financial inclusion is an enormously big problem in many countries. And if you want to do this and give the unbanked, I don't know, 2.5 billion people on earth are unbanked, they have no access to bank account. If they can do this through a payment system, through an app, then there has to be an accountability standard. I can't just tell people, use this app, it's run by a fucking DAO whose owners, I have no idea who they are. Right? You cannot build a global cryptocurrency on a computer code. We are not there yet. We're not that techno-fanatic, right?
Far from it right now, but that's what we're here to build in this space. So upon that, I'd like to open this to questions from the audience. I see we have a few hands to the left, so I'll start there with you, Chad.
Thank you for the presentation. I agree generally with most of the things that you're saying. You mentioned that bridges have kind of been the sources of many hacks. And the challenge is, how do you regulate this piece of making it safe for everyone? What role do you think authenticators play in that?
What will who?
Authenticators.
Authenticators. It's not for the regulated. This has nothing to do with regulation. This is basic cybersecurity. Most crypto projects are cash-strapped. They can barely afford a marketing team, and they certainly don't have a cybersecurity guy, right? As we have seen, I mean, the famous tweet of one of the, well, let's not mention him at the fourth floor.
Yeah.
So if you are the owner of a project and you just publicly state, I don't care about cybersecurity, I need speed, then there's something wrong with your project. Hackers, we hire lots of hackers at Uphold because they're always one step ahead. If I can secure a system, then I can hack the system, right? So this war will be ongoing, and it is a cybersecurity issue. What I think will happen in terms of regulatory constraints is that if the more blockchain companies, blockchain projects are approved and sanctioned by regulators, the more they will have to fulfill certain requirements, like taking care of customers' assets. If you go on the Uphold website, you can see all our assets and liabilities in real time. No one in the world does that. No Citibank, no Chase Manhattan, no Coinbase. Nobody tells you exactly to the second how much you owe and how much you have in the bank. And this type of transparency will become law. This will become a requirement. I'm okay with you being a DAO, but then you have to have a website or a control point where I can see how much money, how many assets, how many ETH, how many Bitcoins you actually own. And if I have flow modeling and transaction monitoring, and suddenly I see 2/3 of your funds being drained to unknown wallet, then there must be an alarm going on. We have systems like that now. We have systems like PeckShield and good cybersecurity systems that detect abnormal transactions. Right? And this is, for us to have privacy and control over our own data in Web3, we need security first. That's the missing element. I think if you want a career choice right now, then go into cybersecurity.
You heard it there first. We have time for about 2 more questions. So I saw your hand up. Just pass the mic.
Thank you. I guess with the Treasury sanctions against Mixer Tornado today, do you have any thoughts on how enforceable that is, and possibly what the next steps might be, or what's going to happen to mixers in the future?
I haven't thought about that yet, but I always get asked. Like I spend every morning talking to the press about the latest rumors, and usually it's always, is the bottom in? Should I buy Bitcoin now? For the last 3 months it's been, why did this project, what's a rug pull? The Financial Times wants to know what a rug pull is. These kind of press questions. I don't know what's going to happen with the mixes, because they do exist already. We have them in traditional stock trading. They're called dark pools. I think, I don't know, Adam, shout if I'm completely wrong, but dark pools are legal. They are legal, right? So if I can have a dark pool in order to mask my transactions on Wall Street, then why the fuck shouldn't I have a Tornado Cash? Probably they will have to show how they're mixing. In the European Union, the law proposed clearly states that you have to prove what you're doing. You have to show the mechanism, the algorithm, the stuff behind it. If your project is dodgy, then you won't be able to show that or not be willing to share that information. Then you simply won't get the seal of approval. Regulation and exploits ultimately the entire discussion around regulation started in a way because of the Ukraine war. In March, on March 4th, somebody sent $25 million to an account, I think it was USDT, sent to an account of the Ukrainian army. Now, in support of Ukraine, so they can buy weapons. Now, immediately that rang an alarm at Interpol. Because what you're doing, you're giving a state without any consultation, without any checks and balances, you are weaponizing, you are arming a nation with a single second-long crypto transaction. And then we discovered what is behind NFTs. Like 2/3 of the NFTs on OpenSea are money laundering tools. And then we discovered human trafficking. We discovered NFTs of young women and children being sold as a token of basically sex slaves. And then Interpol got really interested in the crypto space and said, we now have real hard crime happening on a new technology that's being hyped and sold to millions. So regulation in this case is secondary to the fact that we really need to protect certain elements of society and ourselves from criminal activity. And nothing made that clearer than the Russian-Ukraine war. The amount of money being sent to Russia, from Russia, into Ukraine is insane. And allegedly part of the money is even from official channels. So what faster way to send help? But also humanitarian efforts, right? Médecins Sans Frontières and Doctors Without Borders and Amnesty send crypto transactions to Ukraine. So we see this is the first ever crypto finance war. And of course, you can't have that. I can't have millions of dollars being sent around to a nation so they can arm themselves and attack it. And in this case, it's Ukraine being attacked, right? But the next thing you know, I sent $100 million to Ecuador, and suddenly they attack their neighbor.
Yeah, permissionlessly.
Permissionlessly, exactly.
Wow. Very valid concerns. Sure, we have one more question. Your hand was the first I saw here, so make sure we get you.
All right, so I agree with you for most of the things you said. I think we're kind of in agreement on a lot of it, but there are two places that I want to offer insight and see what your opinion is on that. The first, I think that there are two projects that are offering solutions to that interoperability kind of disconnect that we have that Web 2 does and Web 3 does. I think there's OmniX and Layer 0. Not sure if you're familiar with them, but you should check them out because they really are solving the interoperability problem we have. The second point is, you said that there is no such thing as like a DAO really, or that the use of the term is inaccurate in describing what it's trying to describe. I think that there are real examples of DAOs that exist, decentralized autonomous organizations, where it's not 2 or 3 wallets that have 80% of the supply. So I think that there is that decentralization component of it that does really exist. And I'd be curious to see, because I'm very curious about it myself, is how do you address DAOs? How do you go after DAOs? Because there are examples where it's totally decentralized, their assets are totally decentralized. There's good examples, I won't give them because it could go into too much depth, but there are examples of like asset losses over DAOs.
What I meant when I said they don't exist, I didn't mean they don't exist, I mean they don't exist in law.
Okay.
I said that we have in law the concept of a natural person and a legal person. And neither of them can be detached from human identity. Even behind the legal entity is a person who is ultimately responsible and goes to jail. If you don't know who to send to jail, then you have no accountability.
right? So how do you address it with the DAO?
How to address it with the DAO. So the most interesting thing, I've been a consultant to institutions for quite a number of years, also for the European Central Bank and some big international banks. And the most important result in regulatory terms is that the European Union came out and said, we don't know how to handle this. We want to ban unhosted wallets, but we have no way of doing that. We want to ban transactions above $1,000 from centralized exchanges to decentralized exchanges, but there apparently are 5 million transactions a second happening on just Ethereum. So how do we do this? So they realized that they have lofty ideals of the ideal form of regulation, but there's technically no way of implementing it. They're not enforceable. Many of the rules that are now being discussed are simply unenforceable. So what the EU said is help us, and there's now several working committees and advisory boards of crypto experts sitting at the European Central Bank, sitting at the big regulators, explaining how stuff works. And this will be probably take a year or two, but in terms of adoption, the most important thing has happened now is that governments are saying, we want this, but please help us regulate it. We don't want to destroy you, but tell us how to make it work responsibly so we don't have child porn and gambling on these chains all the time. We need to be responsible citizens. We need to follow the letter of the law. And how do we do this? Right? So governments are asking for consultation. And I think the same is happening here in the States, even though not that well documented. So there has not been a statement yet on how regulation will look like. Whereas in Europe, we have a clear date. We have June 2024 as the start of the next round of regulations. And they will lead to platforms like Uphold, which is regulated across the world, I don't know how many countries already, to the point that listing on Uphold takes excessively long because we have to check everything. I think platforms like that have transparency, where you can be 100% sure that your funds won't be, that when the company goes bankrupt, you as a user don't have to pay the debt. And I mean, if you look at Coinbase, they had an SEC filing saying, in case of bankruptcy, all our user funds can be used as collateral. What the fuck? This is like a bank telling you, thank you for your money, we are now bankrupt, so we're gonna keep all your money. It's insane. So, and you will see, I think, competition in the regulated space and a lot less of this nonsense and I don't know, 20-some-year-old arrogant Korean shits telling I want to revolutionize the world's financial system. So here's my fucking Luna token that is technically deficient and makes absolutely no sense in algorithmic terms. And of course, everybody saw that they launched the USD, but it was predictable. It wasn't a black swan event because black swan events, by definition, are not foreseeable, and this was so foreseeable. We thought there's a group that they're watching these projects, and we had bets running on when it would crash.
That's great. Seems from a mile away, huh? Well, we'd love to get more into this. I'm sure we could have a whole podcast on.
Let's do that.
We should definitely set one up. But for time's sake, just everybody give a hand up for Dr. Martin. So where can the people find you, and where can the people find Uphold? How can they reach you?
Well, if you are in New York, you cannot open a wallet here. We are working on that. I think we bribed the wrong people. We're gonna try the right people to make this happen. It's Uphold, it's spelled.com. If you click on transparency, you see our assets and liabilities. There's a page about. On the about page is me, and you find me. It's my last name on LinkedIn /IN/ my last name, and my Twitter handle has an M before it's M and my last name. You can ask me afterward. My PA has all my QR codes. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. One more time. Round of applause.
All right, everybody, thank you so much. This is amazing. Hey, everybody, welcome to hang out for a bit. Mingle. Maybe we can have just a few people.
Yeah.
If you have a couple of things. First of all, before we get there, Empire DAO. Everybody's here. It's a beautiful space. Check out Empire DAO, but leave it the way that you found it. Try not to leave tracks around. Respect the place. Bathrooms are back there.
Make sure you try to keep the bathrooms clean.
Yeah, keep it clean. Hey, that was the most important. But now we're gonna have maybe just like, let's have 2 or 3 people. If anybody here has a project they want to talk about real quick, 30 seconds.
Yes.
Let's come up here. The reason we do this isn't so you can chill, but that's fine too. But it's so that people can come and talk to you about what you're working on. We can help facilitate connections. And we want everybody here to get something out of it. So we got a couple people here.
Yes.
1, 2, here we go.
So I want to see if, can I have everyone's attention, please? Excuse me, can I have everyone's attention, please? I just want to see a show of hands, a few things. Let me see a hand. Hey. Come on, man. Yes. I want to see a hand. If you're a developer, I want you to raise your hand. Let me see all developers in the building. Let me see. Okay. Let me see a hand of.
You're about to get mobbed.
Let me see a hands of all those who have startup projects that y'all working on that y'all need some type of help with. Let me see. I want everybody to look around the room because this is what this is about. It's about facilitating each other. That's what we're doing this. That's why we're bringing this community together. Well, one of the reasons why we're bringing this community together. Let me see your hands of some VCs. Please don't be scared. Please raise your hands, VCs, just quickly.
You might get mobbed. Not as much.
Got one back there.
Yes. The reason why I'm identifying some of this stuff is because a lot of people come into the room. I guess nobody back there who's talking needs this information, but we bring everybody in this room to get an understanding and to be able to talk to different people within this space to facilitate what you need. That's what this is. It's a building community. Everyone rubs each other's shoulders, hands. Shout out to my guy, 8 right there. 8, there you go, right there. He's in the cannabis and the business. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring some people up who got some projects to talk about their projects for 2.2 seconds.
Excuse me, one more time. Back left, guys.
Yeah, I know you.
Why don't you step out just for a few minutes?
Step out. Coming up, just talking for 2.2 seconds. This way. Yes, yes. No, you don't have to. Just come on and just, you know what I want you to do? I want you to talk about how important this platform is for people to get started in this space. See, it's very important that you actually talk to the right. Come on, you family. Like, I'm locking you in. You don't even know. John, this is our new cousin. Let her introduce herself.
Guys, listen up for just 1 minute.
Please, this is very important.
Hi guys.
Let's switch mics.
Didn't expect this. I'm Jack White. I'm a Web 2 girl making my way in Web 3. And I think what's really important is bringing in new people, underrepresented people, in all of the work that I do, helping early stage and hypergrowth startups and angel investing. My mission is always focused on women and underrepresented or historically excluded founders. And one of the things I'm most excited about with this space is that it's still very wide open. And there's a level of excitement and anticipation. We were talking about it before, some bullshittery that exists here. But I think that what I've seen is just an excitement to build, and when you can be focused on a mission, we're sort of at this stage where we have a vision, we know we want it to be, and we just need to work together to get there. So I'm happy to be here.
That was a superstar that was just on this stage. Trust me when I tell you guys. A gem. Yes, without question. So I'm going to bring some people up. Come on, Marcel. Come on, chill. Yes, sir. Everybody has a chance to come into this space. No, I got you. I got everybody. I want to call.
Not everybody.
No, listen, everybody in this building, if you don't know me, my name is Abby. I am here to help you, support you, but we need help, okay? And the help that we need is, we're building something great. This thing is called Crypto Mondays. We bring a lot of sweat equity up in here. Could y'all agree with that, fellas? And we need some more sweat equity people to come up and join us and be a part of this thing that you feel is great, we feel is great, and we want you guys to come help us to make this thing great, to help the next generation, the next, and the next, and the next. It's true. Right?
It's true. Amen. Amen.
Oh, I'm
All
preaching
right.
today. Yeah. Okay, so
all right, so let's get some people up here. All right, when you come up for 30 seconds, say your thing. Like, let's do this. The idea is to let people know what you're up to.
Yes.
Let's like facilitate some networking. Let's make it happen so you can make connections here. That's what it's all about. So yes. Let's go. We got like at least 7 or 8 people here. So let's go. Ready?
Stand more in the middle.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming today. And my name is Moses. I go by Mo. A lot of people know me by Mo Shoots.
Mo Shoots.
Yeah. I'm founder of Art Apple NYC, which is a local New York City-based incubator for artists, emerging specifically, and we deal mostly 90% with talent right in our backyard. And over the last 6-7 years, we've done 200 exhibitions for underrepresented artists who have crossed over to fine art. And now that Web 3.0 is coming, we want to actually help artists and educate artists to traverse with the proper knowledge. Besides that, I'm a photojournalist 10 years, Getty Images Associated Press. So I learned a lot about licensing, and I think that's a lot what crypto's about and NFTs is about, retaining ownership over sales and knowing your value. So right now, this is the age of just kind of transformation, specifically for artists, specifically for gamers, specifically for those who hold a lot of the keys that people call nerds. This is like really the takeover time that it's an emerging time. And I'm excited about Web 3.0. I'm excited about even seeing if it goes to 4 or 5.0.
What do you need?
What do we need? The ask is always for spaces and walls, and now that we're in the digital age, we have a lot of screens. So the whole thing is just educate the people on how they can use screens and how they can use IRL physical spaces in conjunction so that they quicker like understand the message. Because a lot of people are just scared to get into the space. So a lot of education is needed. A lot of spaces like this for education are needed. And then a lot of community building. Focus on community.
Yeah. Thank you.
How you guys doing? Some good people in here. All right, so my name is David Nelson. Call me Forever G Song. I'm with Art Apple, New York City. Beautiful company. Beautiful vision.
What do you need?
So so basically, I'm one of the artists too, also, and I was just gonna give you like a little hint of what kind of like what every day is so wonderful inside of me. It's hard to breathe. Now and then I get insecure from all the pain. It's so ashamed. I am beautiful, no matter what they say. Words can't bring you down. No. So that's like, you know, we're kind of
What's up? What's up? I will not sing because then this room might empty out.
1 second. Is there any females that want to talk about their project? Okay, thank you. We can go.
Awesome. Well, thank you to Akai Media for inviting me tonight. Not sure who you are, but please introduce yourself. I'd love to connect with
There you
you.
go right there.
No, I figured it's a good man. Good man. Great man. Not a good man, a great man. So what's up, everybody? My name is Ryan Shemin. I represent the trust. I work with some private equity companies, some venture capitalists, so I can connect you to money if it's a real deal project. I work in the crypto space. So yes, I work with, I'm doing a healthcare roll-up at the end of this month, knock on wood. So, you know, $2 billion deal with some Aetna. Congratulations. You know, I'm the coolest guy to go into every room, right? But it's not about what you know, it's about who knows you, ultimately, right? So that's the whole world of this NFT, right? I stumbled into meeting the owners of NFT.com, and now I'm working on some projects with them. New York City facts. It's the fact of New York City. You never know who you're going to meet, you know, and you can pay $1,000 to go to an event. You might not meet anyone worthwhile. But you come to crypto. Shout out. I just left a venture capital private equity event to come here, swear to God. It's just a crypto! So shout out. This is my first time at a Crypto Monday event. Really an amazing crowd and people who want to build each other up. So I'm part of like Hello Blockchain, New Pay. If you guys are looking for money in the NFT, the crypto space, let me know. I can plug you into their team. They are working with MasterCard, with Microsoft, and other valid companies. So my advice to all of you is do as much research as you can, right? Before you connect your contacts, put in your hard-earned money. Make sure you validated it, right? Because like some 22-year-old just died of Crohn's, which doesn't even happen for like 0.1% of people. This guy just disappeared with like $1 billion of other people's money, right? So, you know, educate yourself. Yeah, there's a whole Netflix special about it, pretty crazy. But yeah, no, I'm working, you know, on a bunch of deals right now. So if you guys know a company that has money, that wants a lot more money, I got you. So I got companies who will fund 100% of a project, 95% of a project without giving up a lot of your equity, but just grateful to be here to connect with all of you and excited to network with all of y'all. So thank you for having me.
Say hey.
Come on, man. Great being here. I'm Lottie. It's actually my first time at CryptoMondays.
Welcome.
And I came here by accident. I have a friend, Dia, who works in the 6th floor class. And he was like, stay for this. I was like, okay. And it was cool. So thanks for having me. I am the head of community partnerships at EQ Exchange, which is a music NFT company. So if you like to chat, let's chat. Shout out to this guy who's trying to give people bread. Let's chat.
Crypto.
If anybody's going to Art Basel, let's chat because we're doing some events out there as well. And that's pretty much it. You can hit me on Instagram or Twitter, LADIDAIX. I'll spell it one more time, LADIDAIX on all platforms. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alright, so the company I work for is OmniX.
Fellas, we just got a minute.
Can we give
So this is pretty cool.
same attention that you will want if you was talking about your own project?
It's okay, I'm just being open. So we created the first, OmniX created the first ever ONFT contract standard, and then we kind of went viral after that. And basically, what we do is like we solve the issue that the keynote speaker was talking about, Dr. Hiesboeck. He's I don't know what it is. So he's talking about interoperability and friction that exists within like different chains. OmniX creates an NFT contract standards that enables generic cross-chain messaging between all the different chains. So what we do is we allow users to access all of their digital assets from a single user interface, and they can trade those assets from one chain to another, EVM and non-EVM chain, both fungible, non-fungible tokens, and they can move it in a single transaction from place to place. Probably end up building our own wallet, because just like the tech for this doesn't exist. Like I said, we literally invented it. It's kind of cool. Check us out, OmniX_NFT, and that's it. Yeah, the future of NFT.
We got like 1 or 2 more.
What's going on, everybody?
All right, all right.
My name's Nick Nassau. They call me New York Nick. 2 years ago, who here has hit rock bottom? Oh yeah. Right? That's it. There's 2 people. Everyone else is rich. All right. So 2 years ago, I hit rock bottom. And then I got started with a digital entrepreneurs platform. Been with them for 2 years, and we're in the education industry. And for everyone who doesn't know much about Web3 or crypto or Forex or e-commerce, anything to do with digital money, I'm the person to talk to. I can get you in with the people who know everything. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I'm plugged in with them. So that's it. Enjoy your night. Crypto Monday!
Come on, Louis. No, I got you. You're right. No, I got you. I got Louis.
Crypto is an act of defiance. Most rap to attack their desires. Hold back because they know that they can get the most cash out in an act of compliance. Spotify got it by y'all living balls. Paying the pennies while they get it all. Ripping off artists, controlling and trying to win with the hardest to benefit y'all. Thanks gonna fuck you. Got gas in the tank when I come through. Chain gang finna hang me bump blue. Ways in the sunroof. Thanks for the love to. I spit in the band if you gun do. That Bitcoin changing a mudroom in the establishment. It's real rap shit. I really value it. It's not fungible. My name is Louis C. Rhymes, the NFT rapper, aka NF Trapper. It's Louis, baby! We outside. Shout out Abby, shout out Ivan, shout out Alette. Y'all 3 made sure I got here tonight. I have a generative music NFT project called Hip Hop Heads. Go to hiphopheads.io if you're interested in supporting. Louis C. Rhymes on all social media. Crypto is the fucking wave. I appreciate it.
Crypto!
Hello everyone, my name is Yingmo. This is also my first time at the Crypto Monday at NYC.
Welcome.
Actually, just from Austin, and I also went to the Crypto Monday there. This is way better. My background is I am a tech lead at Airbnb, and I'm building like the platform.
Guys, please. Excuse me. Can we give her undivided attention, please? Thank you very much.
So I had experience building platform for payments and search. And right now, my friend and I are trying to start a startup in the crypto space, in the Web3, and we're especially interested to talk to the the VCs and also the creators or people who are interested in the NFT communities, and just anyone who have building the blockchain or crypto in the application in the Web3 space. You encounter any issues or pinpoint, I'm very happy to connect with you.
Round of applause.
Hello, I'm Arthur, and I'm from Ukraine. So I have an NFT web studio that really provides developments and the marketing and the PR management we have in the team. So I'm happy to be here for the first time in this place and in New York City, and the second time. So I want to be in the community. This is so great to see how many people is here to communicate with each other. So I'm happy to be here. Thanks.
Thank you. So, I would like to thank everybody for coming out. I hope you guys had a good time. Make sure you talk to each and every person that you can talk to. I kind of pointed them out to you so you can figure out Yes. So you can figure out who you need to talk to, where you need to talk to, but you gotta understand, it's really the whole room. You just gotta reach out, talk to somebody, and make your connections, make your network, and you can always talk to me. I would like to show my projects, but I got some stuff going on.
Let's hear it, Abby. Let's hear it.
Hold on. Let's real quick, everybody here. Let's get a round of applause going for Abby to go.
I want to end this off with crypto. Everybody have a good night. Thank you.